All right, YouTube, we're back at it. I got another video for you. This time, I'm here to discuss another EDC item, and I feel like it's an underrated item. It's one that I have seen fall out of the limelight and not make it to all of the fancy picture lineups on the internet showing what your EDC is. It's not titanium. It's not magna cut steel. But what it is dollar for dollar, one of the best EDC items you could carry on you and really get a lot of work done. That's going to be your Swiss Army knife. There's a lot of versions of the Swiss Army knife, but I think so many of them can fit your day-to-day. And there's even a couple of niche ones that could fit maybe certain career types. I have a couple different versions of them myself. I'll, in the description below, or maybe on the screen, I'll list what the models I have are. I got this one in a Smoky Mountain Knife Factory, I believe it was called. Knife Works, maybe. Super cool place. Some wood-handled one. And just kind of your standard red one. These multi-tools will handle so many of your average day-to-day challenges, tasks you'd run into. Cutting open boxes, cutting tape, cutting zip ties, light pry bar, screwdriver. Usually you can get at least a flathead on these. A lot of them come with a Phillips or one of the bottle cap. No, the can opener is supposed to be like a small Phillips kind of screwdriver. But that's another good example. Can opener, bottle opener. I've used this can opener a lot of times, actually. A lot of times for work lunches, a lot of times at home when we can't, when I don't feel like bringing out the electronic can opener. This can opener works great. This is always in my pocket. I've changed out a lot of things in my EDC over the years. And the thing that persists the most, next to say maybe Burt's Bees chapstick, would be my Swiss Army knife. And so much of that is because it handles most tasks in your day-to-day. And if I think we're lying to ourselves when we tell ourselves that we have to have the best steel blades, the titanium liners for things, the crazy super high quality stuff, the very high quality materials. Those are nice, those are great, but they're not necessity. Those are a want, not a need. For me, this is a need, and even though it's made of, say, subpar materials, it gets all the tasks done. So yeah, wanted to shed some light on it, wanted to talk about it a little bit today. We'll do close-ups. I'll show you the three I have, and talk about some of my favorite things about them. If I can think of any bad things, I'll bring that up too. And yeah, we'll dive in. Thanks for coming along. All right, let's have a look at these Swiss Army knives. So as you can probably tell, I have been carrying this Swiss Army knife for a very long time. I've cleaned it, fixed it, sharpened it. Actually, I haven't sharpened it lately, so I don't know how sharp these truly are, but sharp enough to get the job done, I would say. This one cracked on me recently down here. Still works fine though. This has the Phillips screwdriver on the back, which is nice, but I actually prefer the corkscrew. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But let's talk about day-to-day tasks you have, right? So, got to open a box, something like that. You got 2 knives to accomplish that. Large one and a small one. Generally speaking, depending on how kind of precise I need to get with something, I tend to use this little one more like a scalpel type deal, or like if I'm trying to like deburr something. Yeah, sometimes manufacturing, and I work in the manufacturing industry, and sometimes I'm dealing with plastic, Delrin, something like that, and I need to just kind of take off a burr, a sharp edge. This little knife is great for that. Feels like a, what is that called, a paring knife, something along those lines. I often use that for that. Boxes, tape, cutting, things like that, I'll usually use bigger knife. Plastic bags, I'll hold the bag open, kind of make it taut, give this a whoosh, and there you go. Works great for all of those things. Anything you need a knife for. I mean, come on. I know it's not the best steel in the world here, it's just stainless steel, but it works great for that. Sharpening, really easy on these. Very basic blade shape. This one also has, which can be very useful, is a pair of scissors, which is definitely a very nice tool to have on you. That's one of my favorite tools for my Leatherman arc that I EDC is scissors. So and I mean, as you can tell, the Swiss Army knives are actually a little bit bigger, but I would say the arc is a bit more robust. But they'll both do the job, which is nice. This one is way cheaper to get that job done than the arc. So other things that you run into day to day is needing a bottle opener or needing a screwdriver. This flathead screwdriver is very capable of getting most standard tasks done that you're asking of a multi-tool. I've definitely used it a lot. I've also used it as a mini pry bar. As long as you're not prying anything too crazy, it'll work great. Can opener. Talked about this in the intro. I've used this can opener a lot. Open up any cans with it. It works great. Super sharp. I've seen people mention you could use it as a box cutter too, as like, but I've never used it for that. You got the other knives for it, so I leave this for cans and cans alone. You can also use the little flathead there as almost a Phillips. I've had success with that, but it's not the best experience. At least in this scenario, you do have a basically full-size number 2 Phillips on the back to get most Phillips tasks done. You have a parcel hook, which I've actually used a couple of times over the 15 years I've had this in my pocket, or Swiss Army knife in general in my pocket. I have used it a couple of times. I've also used it to finish tying knots, because it's like a nice hook for knot tying when fishing. Not a super handy thing, but I have used it before. A leather awl. I've never really used this. I'm sure you could. There's probably better versions of an awl out there. Things I use all the time too: toothpick and tweezers. Those get a lot of use out of all my Swiss Army knives. Those alone are basically worth carrying the Swiss Army knife, is having those 2 tools, because those are very often needed and nice to have on you without carrying a specific keychain based titanium pick or something like that. It's nice to just come in the multi-tool. These two I've probably carried more than anything else. Starting to lose some of my Trash Panda decal on this one, which I'm a little bummed about. Might have to retire this one before it's totally gone, but it gets a lot of mileage in the pocket, so it wears out. This one is a little bit of a trimmed down version in comparison. So it's basically like one less row of tool in there. I don't have scissors in this, but I have the two knives, knife, and then I got can opener and bottle opener and the flatheads, and then the back here I get the Phillips, and I get the awl. Now this one I've probably carried the most, but because of my Trash Panda, I was carrying that for a little bit. But this one I've probably carried the most. And I actually appreciate its tool set just a slight bit more because of the corkscrew. And no, it's not because I can open up wine bottles, which actually isn't very easy to do with this. I think it's actually pretty terrible at that. It'll go into the cork fine, but the amount of force it takes to pull the cork is kind of obnoxious. It's nice to have like a pry cork bottle opener for that. No, what I often use this for is as a pick, as a O-ring tool remover. Like mentioned, I work in the manufacturing industry. I'm often debugging machines that have O-rings, and this pick has come in handy all the time because I don't often have a pick on my person other than that, and I've pulled apart a lot of machines using that. Pulled out a lot of O-rings anyway. So corkscrew is actually super functional for me. If I had a corkscrew on this, I'd be much happier. I think there's a model that blends this tool layout that has a scissors, which I like, but then has a corkscrew instead of a Phillips. And, you know, to be honest with you, if I wanted to take it apart, it fits in the same spot. I probably could do that. Maybe one of these days we'll do a modify my Swiss Army knife kind of video. That could be interesting. So really the point of this video, I mean, you guys have seen Swiss Army knives. Everybody's seen Swiss Army knives. I just wanted to highlight that this is one of the best EDC tools that you can carry on you. You could carry just this on top of your standard necessities, your phone, your wallet, your keys, and this, and you don't need to have your fixed blade, your EDC screwdriver, your titanium toothpick, your tweezers, you know, all separate. It's all right here, and this works great for all of it, and it is fits in any pocket really, really nice. And you know, for me, like I mentioned, it's often next to my Burt's Bees in my pocket. You know, like right now in my normal EDC, I got that, and then usually that would be my normal EDC in my front right pocket. Now, if I wanted to really trim down weight, we just get rid of that, and I still have a lot of the same capabilities. Now, one of the biggest things I'd miss, but not a lot of people carry a full-size multi-tool on them. One of the things I'd miss would be my file. I use that all the time. And then in this scenario, this one doesn't have the scissors, so then it's nice that my multi-tool picks up the scissors. So this ends up being a really, really nice fleshed out EDC carry for me, at least on my person in my pockets. I generally have like an EDC backpack with me, which will carry some more stuff, but in my pockets on my person, this is what I got. But again, normal day-to-day, the things that I run into, I could probably just do that. Often at work, I have to talk to too many people too often, and I don't even get a chance to wear those. So then we're talking that. I don't have it out here to bring it in the video right now, but realistically, this flashlight is a lot of flashlight. I could then trim this flashlight down for, I have a Rovivon flashlight that's about the size of this Burt's Bees. I could have that flashlight, this Burt's Bees, this Swiss Army knife, and get the majority of everything I could need done on my EDC with 3 items. But I'm extra, so I'm going to carry all that generally with it too. But there's always going to be a Swiss Army knife. That's never not going to be in my pocket. And I think it should be in your pockets too. So let me know what you think. Throw me a comment. Please hit like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, let me know. Do you carry a Swiss Army knife? Is it a staple for you? Do you find it not necessary? I would definitely argue with you on that one. I think it is the most underrated EDC item, at least if you look at what people seem to be EDCing nowadays. But on that note, I think I've covered enough. I think I got my point across. And until next time, toodles.